Hi, Daniel. Good morning to see
Hi,
you.
hi, hi. Hi, Rajesh. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daniel Ho. I'm the Group Managing Director of IQI Global. We are a real estate agency group, international in its own right, and we manage more than 10,000 agents globally. Today, it is my privilege to be able to have a live conversation with Rajesh from VNCT. Indeed, it is an honor. There is so much of diversity from country to countries. In IQI, we operate in many countries, and especially in all the countries that we operate, we learn so much. Today is my great honor and fortune to be able to learn from this beautiful land of India, and especially so when you talk about entrepreneurism, there is a lot of successful entrepreneur that rises out from this land. And Rajesh, with your permission, if you permit me today, I want to unbutton your brain today. And I want to unlock
Absolutely.
and
Please go ahead.
I want to enter into your world of experience so that all of us can take home something valuable from your experience and from the journey that you have made in your entrepreneurship. So, my first question to you, Rajesh, is India and Indians have been known for their resilience and adaptability. Share with us how resilient and adaptable the Indian communities in countering COVID-19 and keeping this virus at bay.
Daniel, thank you so much. It's a pleasure interacting with you with a team size of 10,000 people. You're actually running a small country by yourself. 10,000 teammates is something amazing. And I would definitely love to explore on how you do that. Coming back to your question, Daniel, India was the first to react to this pandemic when the world realized the threat of it. And we immediately went under a lockdown. We gave prime importance, like every other country, including yours, to make sure that the citizens of the country are safe. The safest medicine that we could get in the right nick of time was making ourselves sure that we are in the four walls of the comfort of our homes. And the real estate that we use in our daily life, which is a house, which is a home, protected us from this pandemic and this coronavirus. The reaction of a lockdown was very interesting, very quick, very fast. The best part is the population of the country cooperated and all became careful for each other's lives, because being a contagious disease, we all realize that social distancing with an immediate effect is the need of the hour. High personal hygiene and the hygiene of the people around you has become the need of the hour. And we all cooperated with the rules and regulations laid by the government, not only for the country, but also all the governments which started laying the same rules across the world. And that's how we came back and faced this particular virus. The best part about India is the people are in a lockdown. There is a phased manner in which this lockdown will be unlocked. It is currently happening. The government has classified red zones, green zones, and categorized areas and places on how people will unlock themselves. The essential services were never interrupted. The best part which the government did, that the essential food services and medical services were on. The whole population of the country stood with each other to make sure that everybody gets a support in such a large country of 1.3 to 1.35 billion people. I say India is a world in a country. In such a large population, not a single man slept hungry. Everybody was taken
Wow.
care of and everybody supported each other. The best part is every citizen became a volunteer of the country, and every citizen participated and supported known and unknown people. And that is how India has responded to the pandemic chaos, which has crippled the world for the first time, which we are witnessing after this world was ever born. So we have been very positive and we have really handled the situation well.
Amazing, a very commendable step and effort that have been taken by the Indian government. But I'm sure, like Rajesh, at this moment, while everybody is adhering to social distancing, being in a lockdown, there are prices to pay. And these prices comes in the economic form. In your opinion, do you think your government is embarking on a very aggressive fiscal and monetary policy? Is all this policy enough to keep, the economic crisis at bay? And are all these measures sufficient? And what do you think as well is the one additional measures that you think you would want to see from your government?
Fantastic. So, Daniel, the citizens of any country are critical in making sure that the economy bounces back. The role of the government will be restricted to rules and regulations and some fiscal policies. Fortunately for us, our country has announced one of the top fiscal support mechanisms, stimulus packages in the world. Like the world is today led by 21% of the GDP by Japan. GDP is your concept which you can definitely Google and understand better. I'll just give you the number differences. 21% was announced by Japan, 13% was announced by America, and India has announced 10% of their GDP as a stimulus support to the society and to the economy, which will be a great booster. According to me, I classify the economy in three categories. The most important category is the citizens. The second category is the entrepreneurs. The third category is the government. Now, the entrepreneurs and the government are actually the citizens of the people itself, and they represent them and as entrepreneurs or government organizations and government bodies. Now, what is most important is the largest part of this three-tier system of an economy is the citizens. What every person in this country and across the world, what every individual, a global citizen needs to do is come into a spend economy. Now, there is going to be a challenge. It is a contradiction of thoughts. There are some people who say, preserve cash, save your money, keep it for a rainy day. But economy says that whenever there is recession or when the economy gets into a lockdown, the population needs to start spending money. When I say spending money, it does not mean that you have to go and buy a Rolls Royce or a private jet or something else. But you need to make your life normal by becoming a customer to the other entrepreneurs. So it is very critically important. All the best economists of the world historically have said that the depression in an economy can be supported only by the citizens of the country and the world. And you need to get into the spend culture, because in my business, you are my customer. In your business, I'm your customer. If I don't spend and if you don't spend, we have nothing to work on. And if nobody in the economy works, the movement of money will stop. So movement of money in the economy is like a water wheel system. It picks up the water from the well and it throws it into the economy. And that cycle needs to keep on operating. The fiscal stimulus support that the government has extended is fantastic. We have announced, the government of India has announced a stimulus package of 20 lakh crores, which is, when translated into dollars, amounts to 266 billion US dollars. Now, this is a good stimulus package, and that amounts to 10% of our GDP. This might be sufficient, this might not be sufficient, that the time will say. But also how the public will respond to this kind of a stimulus is yet to be seen. The government is going to be attacking the economy to grow fast in 4 sectors, which has been announced. And those 4 sectors are, they are going to make some interesting policies for the land, for the labor, for the liquidity in the economy. And the 4th is the laws of the country. This is going to be done with an interest to make sure that foreign direct investments come into the country, and new money coming into the economy will further boost the Indian economy to make sure that we also become economically strong to support the products and services that the world needs. We all know 1/6 population of the world are Indians. In your country, in Malaysia, which is one of my favorite countries, it's a beautiful country with fabulous infrastructure. Even Malaysia has got such a large population of Indians who are there for the last 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 generations. So we are, as countries, also very close to each other. There is a lot of cooperation between India and Malaysia. And I see a lot of traffic of business which will happen between these two countries. One thing what we have learned in this pandemic is that the whole country, the whole world today has become one single country. The pandemic has taught us that you might be from any part of the world, a negative part as well as a positive aspect. It will connect to every 7 billion of the people on planet Earth. So these are some of the fiscal policies which will help us to become global citizens, and every Indian will become a global citizen post the COVID-19. It's the new world order that we see coming up.
Amazing. It is so encouraged. I'm so encouraged to see that the Indian government is so far-sighted and taking very proactive measures to safeguard the economy and its people. Let's move to the other sectors, which is the entrepreneur. I want to talk about, if you talk about icons of industry, people like Bill Gates, Ratan Tata, Jack Ma, Mukesh Ambani. These are all optimists. They are all good and great businessmen. These people have set themselves apart from the rest. Share with us, why is it so important at this very moment for every single entrepreneur to remain an optimist?
So there is nothing negative in this world, Daniel. We have to be absolutely optimistic and positive. The world has seen larger calamities in the past. This also is a large calamity, and this too shall pass. What is critically important is our mindset. How we think and how we look at the current situation is critically important for us to be motivated, for us to be charged up. There is always light at the other end of the tunnel. We are at the fag end of the tunnel, and the light will now start showing up. We will control this pandemic. We will overcome this. And people like Ratan Tata, Mukesh Ambani, Jack Ma, your Jeff Bezos, all of these people have shown to the world that irrespective of the situation, irrespective of the scenario, and irrespective of the environment, these are people who will create support mechanisms for the economy. And these are people who will make sure that their support is extended to the government also, so that the common citizen is protected. As far as the entrepreneurs are concerned, let me tell you a new era that will now come up. There won't be a category called employees. There will be a category called partners in progress. Every person with an entrepreneur's team is not going to be an employee anymore. He is going to be a partner in progress of that organization, and the productivity of every human being is going to be measured by the minute, because every human being has to be productive and has to contribute not only to the revenues of his organization, but also to the economy of the country directly and indirectly. So I think this is going to be a new world order. The way we see businesses being operated, the way we see the times coming up, I think a lot of things will change. Most importantly, the mindset will change, and every human being has to become an entrepreneurial mindset, where his job and his religion is to serve and provide products and services to all the people around him. And this is not a choice, this is a compulsion, and this is going to be the way of life. You cannot be hidden under by not performing well. Your performance will be visible to the whole world.
Amazing, amazing. You know, like as a, I would say, entrepreneurs come in many packages. There are big entrepreneurs, people like, you know, Jack Ma, Mukesh Ambani, so on and so forth. And there are your iconic entrepreneur like you, who is, you know, high and mighty. A lot of people will say, the normal entrepreneur will say, what is it for me? COVID-19 came in so swiftly, so fast, so suddenly, wipe out so many lives, make a lot of people fall sick, as well as businesses was crushed. Can you share with us what are some of the models of transformation business models that your day-to-day entrepreneur can adopt so that they can remain relevant during this time and survive throughout this period?
So, Daniel, I classify entrepreneurship in multiple sectors. There is one sector of entrepreneurship which will have a surge in their growth. There are some sectors which are having a boom time. There is another sector who's not having a boom time, but is okay. And there is one sector who's out of business, like, for example, travels, tours and tourism, hospitality, restaurants. These kind of businesses are hit. Now, what do we do in this period of time? We need to sit, we need to calculate our resources, we need to make alternate plans. An entrepreneur is responsible to the team that he has with him. He is responsible to make sure that the food is put on the table every single day, thrice in a day. How does he do that? You need to switch strategies, and that's why he's an entrepreneur. He's a risk taker, and he needs to protect his team, because that is his country, that is his public, that is his people. How does he do that? Every entrepreneur comes with a good team which is trained and experienced. Every entrepreneur has got resources in place. His business must have taken a hit, but his ambitions and his zeal should not be taking a hit. He needs to create alternative source of revenues by creating the same customer base for a different line of activity. It is very simple to understand which are the sectors which are going to grow and flourish. He needs to get aligned with those sectors for a temporary period of time till his original business comes back to shape over a period of 6 months to 24 months or 36 months. Until then, with the same resources, with the same customer base, he can get into different business models or products and services which can serve the customers with whom he already has a trust established, and try to create alternate source of revenues. A man is not defeated till he quits. There is no quitting in this life. There is no quitting in this world. We should never quit. We should always find alternate routes. It's like the flow of water. Nothing and nobody can stop the flow of water. Water finds its own path. And that is what every entrepreneur in the world today is doing the same. He's finding his own path. It is the time to collaborate. It is a time for introspection. It is a time to identify your strengths and weaknesses. And it is the time to work with the people in your ecosystem and in the environment.
You know, like, I totally agree with you. But some of the entrepreneur is really facing a dire situation. Say, for example, as like water, it is finding its own path. But certain of these entrepreneur, their water flow ended up like a Dead Sea. There are no path of, you know, they can flow out. So these are the entrepreneurs that could possibly be facing a cash crunch, liquidity issue, perhaps on the brink of bankruptcy. what would your advice be for entrepreneur that is facing such crisis?
So there are the three classifications that I gave. An economy is made of its citizens, entrepreneurs, and the government. And all these three category of people are going to face cash crunch. It is a known fact. So now there is no need to fear about it. We have to make arrangements. The government has to make arrangements for the money for the country. The entrepreneurs have to make many arrangements for the welfare of his organization to sustain, survive, and grow. And the citizens have to make provisions for the money for protecting their families. Everybody has to take and borrow money. They have to liquidate their savings, which would have been exhausted by now, and they have to get into a temporary phase of cash liquidity arrangement, credit lines. There is no choice. We have to prepare for this, and this is the way we are going to tide over this temporary crisis. Now, everybody, when you start doing this, you are going to buy time to bounce back, and by that same time, the economy will bounce back. When the country has announced a stimulus package, this money is going to get into the economy. And whenever government invests in the infrastructure, investing the infrastructure is money to the audience of the country. That is the public people of the country. And money in the hands of the people will make them spend. And that's how the economy will start spinning. Now, there is no point in sitting at home and brooding and crying and getting fearful about the virus and fearful about your livelihood. But you have to sit, think, make a plan, strategize, connect with people, validate your ideas, get into a group, and start to change your scenario and your situation. So this is a time of ideation, and this is a time of validating what you're thinking as an idea and taking the right steps. But temporarily, I do know everybody is facing cash crunch. It is a new normal, and we have to come out of this scenario by utilizing all possible available resources, because if you live, you survive, you grow. That is the formula, whether it is life or whether it is business or whether it is government. Everybody has to live, survive, and grow. That is the formula, 3-tier step that we need to take in these times.
Amazing, amazing. I think it's very important for entrepreneurs not to sit by the fence. Though the economic stimulus is given by the government, there could be a collective or a certain amount of entrepreneurs just sitting by the fence doing nothing. I think what is important is taking action and do something about it. Tap into the funds or the stimulus that the government have given and revive your business, rewrite your business model. And by the same token, Rajesh, I heard of this quote famously coined by Warren Buffett. Be fearful when people is greedy. Be greedy when people is fearful. This question I want to ask in specific in regards to real estate and investment. Do you agree with this quote, and why?
Absolutely, I agree with this quote, Daniel. The world has today witnessed that the only asset class which has protected the whole world is the real estate asset class. You cannot wear the share certificates around you like jewelry because they are pieces of paper, and today it is not even paper, it is a demat account, it's just a digital number. You cannot wear your jewelry when you're landlocked and house locked for the last 40-50 days. You cannot enjoy wearing that jewelry, you can't eat the jewelry, but you are absolutely comfortable in the house that protected you for this entire 50 days period of the lockdown. People have realized, and the world has realized, that the most expensive and the most valuable asset in the world is real estate. And the appreciation of the real estate and the comforts of the real estate are both going to be enjoyed by the people who believe in them and work on them. In India, fortunately for India, since the population is 1.3 billion people, it's a huge market. And now with the investments of the infrastructure sector in the country, like for example, the Honorable Minister is going to be investing around $200 billion in the next 2 years for the infrastructure development. And the government consciously within the country and across the world are now working towards decentralizing people from the urban areas to the outskirts of every metro city. And the concept in India that is being worked on today is not only about smart cities and urban cities, but also smart villages. So the wealth has to get distributed and it needs to reach the villages for the economy to boom back again, which means the outskirts of every metro city is going to be in great demand. And real estate is one investment which has protected people for centuries together. Like, for example, the properties that your parents bought and my parents bought, they would have bought it at, for example, say $10,000, and today they are probably $10 million. So this kind of earning cannot be happening by working in a business or in a job. This kind of earnings can happen only when the appreciation of a real estate asset takes place. At the same time, a real estate asset also earns money and gives you in the form of either rentals or loan against property when the value appreciates. So I think real estate has really proved itself once again that this is one asset which will protect the family in terms of financial needs and take care of the next few years of your life, also the next generation of your life. That's my take on real estate, Daniel.
Amazing. Thank you so much. You know, in many parts of Asia, one of the many strategy that many entrepreneurs use is a model of 3R. They call it reprice. Basically, when in the phase of repricing, you ask yourself, is your economics, is your business model works in the new norm or not? So thereafter, if you think it doesn't, you reconfigure your business model, you reconfigure your cost structure, you reconfigure your entire organization. And thereafter, you go to the third R, which is relaunch, whereby they relaunch their business back to the market on the basis of the new norm, and to see how does the market take up, and to see whether are they able to maintain a certain sustainability for their business. So for you, I would love to learn and know, what do you think is the model that the Indian entrepreneur is using currently? Are they using 3R or are they using something else? And this is something that is important for us, because every country we learn something new. So if you can share your thoughts on this.
Fantastic. So repricing is critically important. The attitude of the customer is going to change. The value proposition needs to be changed. Today, only if you give gold at the price of silver to a customer, there is a customer. If you're going to try to sell gold at the price of gold, there is no market, there is no customer. So the value proposition has changed. So what you said by reprice, that is very, very critically important. Reconfigure is a very critical thought, and it begins here in the mind. You need to collate all your resources and you need to reconfigure the operations of these resources in a very different formula. And also you need to become creative. I would like to add the third R, that is reimagine. Now you need to reimagine of how you are going to unfold once the unlocking starts happening in full force. So you need to reimagine yourself with repricing and also reconfiguring your resources. You also need to decide the path that you're going to take, because this last 50 days has been the best teacher of everybody's life, and everybody has learned absolutely valuable lessons. A person who does not commit the same mistake is considered as a wise person, and I'm sure everybody in this world, all the 7 billion people, have become wiser with this lockdown of the 50 days that we have witnessed in India and some other number of days in the other countries. So I feel reimagination is the need of the hour, recalculation is the need of the hour, and changing the value proposition is going to be critically important. And I always tell people, there are 3 ways how you can grow your business: by adding new customers, which might be a little difficult at this point of time. The second part is giving more products to the same customers. And the third method of growth for any organization and any entrepreneur is doing all the 3. So doing the first 2, that is adding more customers and adding more products to the same customers. I also feel that a lot of people have started thinking that you need to be in a diversified business portfolio. Like one of my portfolios is also hospitality sector. I'm a serial entrepreneur. So the hospitality sector today is giving me 0 revenue, but I've got the other sectors of business on which I'm living, surviving, smiling, and still working happily. So diversification has become the new norm. People will diversify their portfolio and they will ensure that the revenue stream cannot be one stream. So you can just imagine, if the revenue stream for an individual is only a restaurant, and if that restaurant is closed, today he's looking at a dead wall, he's looking at a blank wall. So that should not be the situation in the near future. This time has been the best teacher. Always have alternate sources of revenue, and that is what recalibration is, what is going to take place in the minds of people, and accordingly the decisions will take place. And because of these new decisions, the economy will start propelling faster. So Daniel, this is very interesting conversing with you. I would like to understand about how are you managing your 10,000 people team in Malaysia, and how is the Malaysian economy taking care of the people?
Sure. My pleasure, Rajesh. And thank you so much for all the answers that we have shared. I've learned a lot. I think what I would do is I will revisit this video again, rewatch it, and I love your reimagine and recalibration. That's very important, and that's so true. Business have got to reimagine the new way of doing things. You stuck to the old ways, you never move. Doing the same thing again and again, expecting different result, is not going to do.
Absolutely. So what do you think about the Malaysian economy, and how has the Malaysian economy supported you, your organization, and the citizens of Malaysia?
Generally, as far as the Malaysian economy is concerned, the government is doing a great job. What we do is, there's a saying, health is wealth. What the government did in the first place is they focus on 2 key component items. The first one is health, whereby they built a lot of health infrastructure. A lot of medical equipment has been upgraded, test kit, etc. And we also reinstate a lot of good SOP, where you talk about social distancing, hygiene, temperature checks, so on and so forth. And that is very important because for any nation to move forward, the health of your people got to be what you call watertight, seal watertight, so that you can do better. And on the wealth part, the government is doing equally well. What the government has do aggressively, they are going on fiscal and monetary. There is a stimulus of, for a small country like Malaysia, stimulus of about 60 billion US dollars has been demarcated that would be pumped into the economy to help in the form of cash aid, microloan, etc., to spur the SME sector so that they can do well. Our SME contribute about 60% of the GDP. So
Wow.
that's very important for us. On top of that, the government have also instituted a moratorium loan repayment and credit card repayment for a period of 6 months. And our central bank has also injected additional liquidity by lowering the interest rate of from initially 3% to right now 2%. So this is ongoing. And the commitment that the government has given to the Malaysian people is, don't worry, if need be, we will be more aggressive. So we are very encouraged. So from the business community, we are indeed rising up in support. We are indeed rising up to tell everybody that, hey, you have a calling, and this calling is way above you. This calling is not about you, your company. This calling is to fight for the country that you love, to defend your motherland, because we have a common enemy. This enemy is called COVID-19. He's invisible. He doesn't care whether you're rich, you're poor, whatever race, it doesn't care. It will affect, and its path is destruction. So what we have to do is we have to act responsibly, live responsibly, and make sure our businesses is operate in a responsible manner.
Fantastic, Daniel. That is awesome. So it is too much of similarity between India and Malaysia in the way they are thinking and moving forward. Daniel, my next question to you would be, you have a team size of 10,000 people. And in these trying times, when the economy is fluctuating and you're under a lockdown, it is very important to keep the morale of the team very, very high. How do you manage to be in communication with 10,000 teammates? And how do you make sure that they are fully motivated to change the scenario that this new challenge has thrown?
You know, like our dilemma initially, before the lockdown, life goes on as usual. When the lockdown was announced, before the prior to the implementation of the lockdown, we are faced with two key critical questions. Number one, there has been a lot of bad news circulating in the market. And this bad news is creating an aura of negativity, confusion, and fear among the people. When you have fear, confusion in your home country and in the globe, your economy is not going to do good. So what we did was, we know that we need to provide two things. The first thing is clarity. We need to provide clarity for all our 10,000 agents. On top of that, we need to also provide a clear roadmap for all our agents, as well as our potential buyer, how to do well moving forward in future. In order to do that, there is a lot of requirement to empower them with the right knowledge, to equip them with the right knowledge to dispel the fake news, and what exactly moving forward is the potential like. So in the past, pre-COVID, we used to train our people once a week in all our offices, all the overseas offices. Every week, we hire very good coaches, speakers, head of industry in various sectors to empower our people. But this time round, we 10x it. During the time when we undergo lockdown, we know everybody is house. You can't go out. There is a lot of time. What we actually do every single day, we have between 3 to 5 different trainings module to empower our 10,000 warriors. I call them warriors because they are not your typical normal agent. They are warriors. They are fighter. And equipped with this knowledge, I can attest, for a small country like Malaysia, during lockdown crisis, our turnover that we have collected during this lockdown, we have been closing sales like non-stop, is more than what we did the same time last year.
Wow.
I'm so encouraged. And
Fabulous.
not only in Malaysia, but we are seeing record transaction in Vietnam, we are seeing record transaction in Australia, and different parts of the country that we are operating in. It is all starting from the mindset, the knowledge that we empower. And when your agent is empowered with knowledge, they can add in a lot of values to the customers that they are talking to. And customers can make a very good, well-informed buying decision.
Fabulous, Daniel. Fabulous. And what kind of communication are you maintaining with your customers?
Right now, there's a lot of digitization. When you can't go out, you have to continue to communicate with your client. The thing
Yes.
is, when you use digital, what do you call, platform to communicate with each other, there are minuses, disadvantage. Because
Yes.
via this platform, you can only see me and you can only hear me. But
Yes.
as compared to when you go and visit the showroom, you can feel the showroom, you can feel the furniture, you can know the texture, you can touch it, and then you
Yes.
can smell. Certain the showroom they have put in very nice
Fragrance.
fragrance. So it's
Fragrance.
sort of like it is the sensory experience is more. What we did with our warriors was the training in enhancing their communication skill have gone up over these last couple of weeks. And
Fantastic.
there is so much training to give them. Why? Because now they require a lot more skill because your clients is interacting you with only two senses. And you
Yes.
have to be able to convince him, you have to be able to bring him through that journey
Yes.
until he signed on the dotted line. So
Yes.
this is exactly what we have been doing, using technology to communicate with our agents and our clients, enhancing
Fabulous.
it.
Fabulous. One last question, Daniel, and then there are plenty of questions that people have asked. We will address, both of us will answer those questions. So, Daniel, the next question is, what are your company's plans along with your warriors post the lockdown?
Sorry again,
What
post
are the
lockdown.
plans, yeah, of your company and your warriors post lockdown? What are your immediate plans to bounce back?
Our immediate plan is very simple. We ask ourselves, as far as real estate is concerned, does real estate has any economic relevance during and after COVID-19? My answer to you is with or without COVID-19, yes, everybody, human, as far as he is a human, he is a person, he still need a roof over his head. As far as anyone who wish to live life and make a family, he would want to ensure that he has this option to invest his wealth that he has accumulated over his working life and safeguard his wealth. And real estate properties remain very relevant during and post. The trick is a lot of people who want to buy, how do you get to them? You won't be able to get to them during lockdown. It is very difficult to get to them during social distancing. Even clients are fearful to go into sales gallery. So the key is digitization,
Yes.
because through the digital media, you can reach millions and millions of people. And the platform that we have created today, I'm wearing this shirt, called Juwai IQI. This
IQI.
company is a merger between Juwai and IQI. Juwai is the number one portal in China, helping Chinese to buy overseas properties. IQI is a world-class agency. And last year we merged. Why do we merge? Because we know every single agent, they wanted to sell and they wanted to rent. You want to sell, you need to look for a buyer. You want to rent, you need to look for a tenant. So in order to do that, what better way is it when you consolidate yourself, merge with a property portal so that the lead generation part is able to achieve. This is one of our digitization strategy. That's very important. I just read the news, this morning. Tencent from China, the big tech company from China who owns WeChat, they recorded a 30% increase in profit during this pandemic season, and also a 30% increase in revenue during this pandemic time. Why? Because right now, when everybody is under lockdown, the consumption of digital content went up the roof. The consumption
Absolutely.
of digital product went up the roof. And if our business model is there has no presence in the digital world, I think we are losing on something great. So for every
Absolutely.
entrepreneur, I would encourage all of us to relook at your digital roadmap. Can you place your store not only physically, but place it in the digital world, so that if there's a lot of millions of people that can discover you via the digital store, your digital store, you have an amazing business model. So our moving forward post crisis is maximum digitization.
Fantastic. So all of us are actually living two lives at simultaneous times. One is the conventional life where we are meeting people one to one, and we will be meeting in spite of the social distancing once the lockdown opens up with safety measures in place. And the
That's
second
right.
is we are leading a digital life. A digital life doesn't have a passport, doesn't have a boundary. doesn't have any caste, creed, religion, sector, culture, nothing. We just move around the whole world. We don't need aeroplanes, no airports, nothing required. We're all digital citizens, and also the second life, which
That's
is
right.
the
That's right. You
conventional
know, the
life.
way you put it, Rajesh, is like it sounds very like superhero. Having two alter ego. During the day job and at night you are a Cape Crusader. Yeah. I think
Absolutely.
we have to live two lives. Totally agree with you.
Absolutely. It's absolutely dual life that we are leading, and simultaneously, and both are connected. One with physical movement restrictions and one with unlimited movement. You can just travel any part of the world with the help of technology. So now we take
That's right.
questions, Daniel. That was
Okay.
lovely knowing about Malaysia. Thank you so much. And your
Thank you.
organization, Koshi Samuel, he's from Muscat, and he's asked, unemployment is forcing people to become involuntary entrepreneurs. So what is your take on that, Daniel? And then I will add my
My take
comments to it.
is if it is involuntarily, it's important to embrace it. It could be
Yes.
involuntary because you are under a workforce, but because of COVID, you are forced to be an entrepreneur. Embrace it, settle with it, accept it, and then move on with it. Because this could be a good thing at the end of the day. Imagine if you discover a way of being an entrepreneur and your entrepreneurship is successful. You become your own boss. Who knows? Instead of 9 to 5 job, you could achieve financial freedom, and moving forward, you can achieve a lot of financial gain and bless the people that you love, change the life of the people that you love. I think this is a very good thing.
Absolutely. You might become the next Steve Jobs or Jack Ma. Both were rejected, both were thrown out of the companies. In fact, Jack Ma didn't get a job ever. And Steve Jobs was thrown out
Not
of the
even
same
in
company.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Not even in Kentucky Fried Chicken. And Steve Jobs was thrown out of the company that he created. And after
That's
that, he
right.
came back again, and the rest is history. So, unemployment is going to be for those people who are very relaxed in life, who are not very productive to the organization, because no organization will ever want to fire an employee if he is productive. So now onwards, every human being has to be productive as a family person, as an organizational teammate, or as the owner of an organization. It is true for organizations also. Unemployment is not only there for employees. Unemployment also can fit onto the categories of entrepreneurs. If the entrepreneur is not fit and competitive and not surviving in the sector, he will be thrown out. He'll have to look out for a job. If an employee is with a entrepreneur as an employee, or an organization with an employee, if he's not productive, he'll be thrown out of the job. But whatever it is, you have to be skilled, you have to be productive. That is the only solution. Suhani Mendonca is into events, and her grievances, and it's a grievance, events industry totally out of business too. According to me, that is not the case, Suhani. The methods of doing business has changed. I'm sure Daniel has got views on that. Let me share mine. The methods of doing business has changed. The numbers of people attending the events has changed. Till yesterday, Suhani, you must have conducted an event of 500 people or 2,000 people. Today, you have the power to conduct an event which can be attended by 2 million people. There is no restriction. Technology is going to take whatever you create as an event to the whole world. So there is no geographical distance anymore. Instead of charging $10,000 for a ticket, you can charge $100 and collect it from more number of people. So now you have to think innovatively, you have to think creatively, and you have to adapt to the change, the new world order. The social distancing is not a permanent feature. It will come out once the vaccination and medication is in place. But till then, use technology and try to create very innovative and inventive methods of doing events. Daniel, your take on this question.
I totally agree with you, Rajesh. We have been organizing events on our own for our people, and our event can run into the thousands and thousands of people. And I can tell you, while we were doing that pre-crisis, we are spending like hundreds and tens of thousands of dollars just for one event. And one of our events can run, if it is a high-profile event, it can easily cost $500,000, easily. So when you have such a high cost structure, you have no choice but to up your ticket price. Am I right? The
Absolutely.
digital world have democratized this industry.
Yes.
How? Because this digital world, your creativity is your cost. How creative
Absolutely.
are you in organizing an event that will draw everybody to come, is subject to the content, is subject to everything, the layout of your ingenuity. So your cost is your creativity, and that cost is zero. And imagine, if your ingenuity is very high, people love to come into your event. You can charge the price that you want. while
Absolutely.
maintaining a very low cost. And then I think if you can pivot your business model in that area, this is a beautiful business model that can make you very successful, because your cost structure has evaporated just over time because of
Absolutely.
digitization.
Absolutely fantastic. So there is a information from Kishan Desai. Exponential tech has been disrupting traditional industries at an ever increasing pace, and the pandemic has basically put these changes into hyper speed. So we agree to you, Kishan. I would not say it is disrupting. It is giving additional force to traditional industries. All the traditional industries, like how Daniel said, need to get digitized. They need to adapt and get married with technology, and they need to redefine the way to reach the market and serve the customer. So no business is going to be disrupted unless the sector is going to go on a back foot for some time. But every industry can be adapted to technological new norms of the new era. What is your take on that, Daniel?
My take is every technological disruption, it means that every time when there is a technological innovation, it is a powerful tool. You have a choice to use it or not. Say, for example, assuming if we are in the riding horse era and Model T from Mr. Ford came out, you have a choice. You want to continue to ride on the horse, you can. Or you want to buy a car, you can as well. But eventually, you have a choice to use a powerful technology, an innovation, or you can use a lesser or it's whatever that is being used at that time. Digital disruption is also a tool. Today, it helps a lot of people do a lot of function, and it can do it on a massive scale. You have a choice. If you want to remain in whatever that is status quo today, that is the price that you have to be willing to pay. Meaning to say, riding a horse will never go as fast as a car. If you are using conventional method today, will never be as powerful as digital innovation. I think what we want to do is we want to encourage each and every one of us here to embrace digitization, because this moving forward is the way of life, and it is no point, or it is pointless to argue that I do not want to move. If you are set, you want to live in your own box, you are welcome to do that, but the world got to move on, and everybody got to move on.
Fabulous. Thank you, Daniel. Urmi Thakkar, digital citizenships. Wow. How significant is the role of this new set of digital consumer going to be in boosting the economy? So, Daniel, your take, and then I'll add my comments to yours.
It will definitely boost. You look at all the tech company in this world, you look at Amazon selling books. Today, they sell almost everything. Why Jeff Bezos is among the richest guy in the world. And you look at Facebook, you look at Google, you look at Alibaba, you look at everyone who is in the tech era, they grow very fast. And this is certainly the way to move forward. As I mentioned, this is a very powerful tool. Any companies who use this tool accelerate their growth. We have a choice. And the choice is, you must know every time it is not an easy choice, because to be able to digitize your company, you need to invest in people, you need to build the infrastructure, and there is cost associated to it. It's not easy, but when you take the road that is difficult, the road that is narrow, you will be rewarded, because though success is not an easy path, when you attain it, when you move towards it, when you take action to change that part of it, it will come back, the reward will come back many times over.
Fantastic, Daniel. We'll take a last question after this. And Urmi, even organizations like Amazon, with the kind of surge that has started happening because of digitization and people buying online, Amazon is going to add 100,000 people more to their existing large army of people to serve the surge in the demand. Also, platforms like Amazon have really brought resources collated together, and everybody is getting an opportunity to locate a customer. The customer is getting the opportunity to get the best product at the best price, and he's aware about what he's buying and what can be the best price and best quality that he's looking out for. So it's a great leveler. It adds to the improvement of the value of life and the quality of life. So digitization is definitely going to add tremendous value and a big booster to the economy of the whole world, not only India, but of the whole world. So I would like to take one last question, and that is Milind Dige, who's asking, which are the apps that you're using to connect your 10,000 network of agents in your company? Which is the apps that you're using?
Okay, we use multiple apps, but on top of that, we develop our own app. Our own app is called Atlas. So from there, the agent is able to navigate, is able to acquire all the presentation that they needed for their property. There is also, it also houses many virtual reality 360 video where they can just tap into it and present it to their clients. It also allows them to basically review their whole business organization, because in IQI, we allow every single agent to build an ecosystem. It's just like Alibaba, where many SMEs reside in that ecosystem. So we have many agents who have their entire business network under our ecosystem, whereby they can see, oh, if I have my team size, some of the agents have team size of close to about 1,000 plus people or so. So they can see their entire tree. They can see who are the performing agent, who are the non-performing agent, how to coach them. So this particular app that we have developed help us to empower agents. IQI is very interested to empower agents for all countries, and certainly we are looking for opportunity to empower many agents, if possible, sometime in future. The agents in India as well. I think ultimately, it is about digitization and building capability into your digital structure. If you are running businesses, say for example, it could be an F&B, look at how you can use digitization to reach many people, and tap into some of the ready platform that is already proven in the market and grow your business.
Thank you so much, Daniel. We are come to the fag end of the session, and Sushant Rauran is a very interesting entrepreneur, but we can't address his question. I've just posted it to the advantage of the audience. We are at the fag end, and I would like to say a thank you to you, Daniel, for associating for this particular event today and for enlightening us with some very good economics between the world and the two countries of India and Malaysia. My last statement would be, friends, we need to understand one thing in life. What we feel is what we attract. We need to feel very positive in life, and that will attract positivity. What we imagine is what we will create. So make sure that your imagination is worth to be created. We need to keep these aspects in mind all the times. Please make your past empower you. Please let your emotions direct you. Please let the people around you support you and you support them, and let us build a powerful and a robust economy, not only for India, which is our very dear country, but also the global economy at large. This is my last statement to you all on this show. Thank you so much. This is Agnelorajesh. Daniel, to you.
Thank you, Rajesh. It is indeed an honor to be able to share my thoughts. I would wish all of you, all of our friends here in India, to remain resilient. You guys have done tremendously wonderful. I'm so encouraged to hear so many beautiful news and development in this country. I know you guys are taking over the world. One of the most populous country, the second most popular country in the world, but at the same time, very diverse. It's not homogeneous. And you guys have been able to churn out talents after talents. You look at all the top Fortune 500 CEOs. It is like populated from India. You look at Microsoft, you look at Adobe, and so many of them. Beautiful country, talented people. I wish you all the best. What is important is believe in your country, fight for the country that you love, fight for humanity, and grow your business, because businesses, enterprises are very important for the country's survival. If the businessman in that country given up hope, then the fighting chance for that country to remain relevant is almost nil, zero. So you guys have to rise up. Rise up for India. We will rise up for Malaysia. We will rise up. The whole Asia, the people of this world got to rise up. Our common enemy has no respect for class, poor or rich or whatever ethnicity. They will come. And they come, they take away what we love, what we hold dear to. So fight on, believe in yourself, believe in your country, believe in your people, and believe in the people that you love. Do whatever it takes to protect. With that, I wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Have a God bless day, and have a God bless day to everybody here on the show.
Thank you. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.